Hey guys, this is Balu and today in this tutorial I will show how you can create this kind of visual effects videos in Blender easily using fSpy application and Geo Tracker. So hope you guys will find the video useful, and without any further delay let's start today's video. So here I am using this footage which I got from Texas. Download link in the description if you want to use the same. So in order to use fSpy we need to have image. So here you can see it is asking for image. So what we can do, so let's play this. So if you are using VLC player, go to this video options and select this take snapshot. So before that, come to the starting frame, go to this video and take snapshot. So now let's import that snapshot here. So here I got that snapshot. So select it and drop it onto this fSpy application. So now we need to align this axis. So red is x-axis and green is y-axis, or else let's change this to z-axis. Okay, so blue is z-axis. So first let's align this one. So first of all, let's select this whole shift key to zoom in. Let's place this here. Let's select this point. So now you can see we got the camera perspective. So let's place this here. Let's enable this XY grid float. So now let's save this file. So go to this file option, save as, and let's save it as 7777. Okay, so now we can close this fSpy application and let's open Blender. So here I'm using 4.3.2 version. So press and let's delete this default scene. Press A to select everything and delete it. Now let's import that data. So go to this file, import fSpy. So here I got that file, so simply select it and import fSpy. So now first of all, come to this camera options here, expand this background images, change it to movie clip. Since we are using movie clip, change it to movie clip and load our footage once again. So open and let's load the footage and let's increase the opacity. Okay, so now we got our footage. Now let's add a cube. So shift A, mesh, select cube here. We got a cube in the scene. So here you can see we got this cube. So let's place this cube onto the grid. So select the cube, press G, Z and hold Control key and move it above. So now it is onto the grid. So press 0 to see through camera once again. So now let's track the footage. So here I'm using Geo Tracker from In Tools. So press and create new Geo Tracker. So in this clip option we need to load the footage once again. So open and let's load the footage. And here we will get this analyze option. Here I am getting reanalyze because I have analyzed this footage already. You will get analyze option. Simply click on that analyze option. It will ask for the frames. So I will leave it from 1 to 321 and hit OK. So here the analyzing is done. Now come to this option, change this to camera since we are tracking the camera. So let's change this to camera option. Click on this start pin mode and let's click on this track to end option. So now our tracking is started and we will get keyframes here. So now you can see we are getting the keyframes added. So once the tracking is done, just click on this exit pin mode and now let's check this once again. So if I play this, you can see our solid is staying in its position. Nice. So here our tracking is done. So first of all, let's save the project, Control S. So now we need to model the structure roughly. So let's select this, press G, Z and let's place it here for time being. So let's add a ground plane. So shift A, go to mesh, select a plane here, press S and let's increase the scaling here like this. And G, Y, let's move this. Okay, now press tab key for edit mode, change this to edge selection. Let's select this edge, E, Z, let's extrude here. Now E, Y, let's place this here like this. So here I have roughly modeled the structure here. So now let's select this mesh, come to this options, physics options and add collision. So in the same way, let's add roughness to rest of the parts. So let's select the plane, add collision, let's select these things. So I have added collisions to all of the meshes here. So I think the tracking is messed up. So let's do that thing once again. So let's select the plane now. So here in geometry, let's change this to plane here. So let's select this plane. So we got the plane. So let's analyze this footage once again. So here the analyzing is done. So now let's select this camera option and start pin mode, and let's tag this once again. So now the tracking is done once again. Let's exit this pin mode and let's play this once again and see. So now you can see our tracking is looking good and the objects are staying in its position nice. So now let's add our duck model here. So for that I will be using this Blender kit which is free to download. So make sure collision property is added to all the meshes. So now let's bring the duck model. So come to this search option and look for duck. So here I will be using this model. Simply click on the image, it will be loaded here. Duck model here, let's select it, press S and increase the scaling. Let's place this here. So here we got the duck model. So now let's add cloth here. So come to the starting frame. So come to the physics property, being selected this duck model, click on this cloth. So I will leave default settings as it is and I will increase the pressure to 2 and let's increase this catchy end frame to 321. Since I got the footage of 320 frames, I have changed this to 321 and come to this collision option and enable self collision option. So now let's play this and see. So now we got our duck model falling down, yeah, and it is colliding with these objects and it is falling down here. Okay, so if you want to increase the bend value you can do that. So let's increase this to 15 a bit and the rest and all I will leave like that only. So now let's duplicate this duck model. So shift D to duplicate it and add collision, and for each and every duck we need to add collision property so that it collides with one another. So we got this collision property added to all the duck models. So now let's bake the simulation. So scroll down, come to the catchy option here and click on this bake. So here the bake is done, and if I play this now you can see we got our simulation done here. Okay, so let's press 0 to see through camera. Okay, so now you can see we got our simulation done. So now let's move on to this render viewport here. So here the scene is looking dark because there is no light in the scene. So here I will be using HDRIs from this polyheaven. So from here I will use this HDRI. Simply select the HDRI and download it. It will be downloaded and later we need to load that one. So come to this Blender, come to this world properties, click on this yellow dot here, come to this environment texture, enable it and open and locate the file. So here I got the HDRI, open image. So now you can see we got some light in the scene and now we need to make this transparent. So come to this render settings, scroll down, come to this film option and expand it and make it transparent. Okay, so we got this transparent background and also let's enable this ray tracing option. Okay, so now this is looking good. So now come to this render settings. Here I will be using cycles engine. So change this to cycles, device change this to GPU compute, and now we need to make these meshes shadow catcher. Select this plane here, come to this object properties, scroll down, come to this visibility and make it as shadow catcher. So now you can see we got rid of that one. In the same way let's select all the meshes. So let's select this mesh, enable shadow catcher, select this one, enable shadow catcher, select this shadow catcher. So now you can see we got our scene ready and we are getting the shadows also. So now let's come to this render settings once again. So come to this render settings. So here render samples I will reduce this to 32 and noise threshold I will make it 0.1. So these settings are to reduce the render time. So if your device is capable of rendering much quality you can leave it to default and come to this color management Let's change this to standard. And if you want to add bit contrast, you can add bit contrast here. So here you can see we got the contrast, so I will add low contrast here. And yeah, I think this much of settings are fine for render settings. Now come to this output properties. So resolution is here, you can change it if you want. Enable this render region, crop to render region. So frame rate, it should match with the footage frame rate. So footage is of 30 frames, so I will change this to 30 fps. And 12321 is fine, so I want to render whole frames. So come to this output properties. So here we need to select a location where we can save the file. So quickly I will save a location. Here I have selected a folder to save these files, and file format, let it be PNG. Make sure this RGB is selected to get the alpha channel. So once this is done, just come to this render option, click on this render animation. So it starts to render only 3D objects, we won't get the footage visible. So later we need to use any editing software to do compositing. So in this way we can create this kind of CGI visual effects in Blender easily. So hope you guys have learned something new from this tutorial. If you have learned anything new, please like, share and subscribe my channel to support me. So I'll meet in the next video. Until then, signing off. Take care. Bye.